going on, everybody? It is your boy Tim, back with another video. Out enjoying a little sunshine. Off work today, the sun is out. Like, I ain't even got my big coat on, people. Look, all I got on is my little Walmart fleece. Like, I think it's like up in like the 50s today. I'm loving it. I needed the sun. Too many days of negative temperatures and no sun. Had your boy, you know, feeling a little down, but the sun's got me feeling good. I was like, I'm gonna go outside, walk around, I'm gonna do a video. And in today's video, I wanted to start back up a series that I started a couple years ago, never finished, or haven't made any videos on in a while. And that was my How to Live Free series, right? And we talked about things like killing your bills, and a couple other topics. I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description box below if you want to check those out. But today I wanted to talk about another topic that could help you to live free. And it's one that I think is a major issue, especially Western civilizations. I know it's a big issue here in America, and that is living within your means, okay? Living within your means is something that so few of us do, but I think it is one of like the best ways to be able to live free. One of the reasons so many people are chained to like either debt, you know, credit cards, having to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week their whole life is because for their whole lives, once they become an adult, they live outside their means. So what do I mean by living within your means? All of us, you know, most of us work and we bring in a paycheck and it's X amount of dollars a year, okay? And living within your means living on that X amount of dollars a year, okay? So if you make $40,000 a year, you break that down into 12 months out of the year, whatever that comes to per month is what you need to live on per month. That should pay all your bills, that should get all your food, that should allow you to put some money in savings, and also hopefully have a little money left over for, you know, some fun things, you know? So you should be able to live within your means, within the amount of money that you make each month. The problem is, for those of us in Western societies, okay, it has never been easier for us to live outside of our means, which basically means spending more money than we're making. If you're making $2,000 a month, it has never been easier to be able to spend $3,000, $4,000 a month. Be that on, you know, credit cards or store cards or bank loans or whatever. Most people have no savings. I forget what the stats are, I've done videos on it before, but the average, I know in America, the average American doesn't even have $1,000 in the bank. So basically, and they have thousands of dollars of debt. So the average American does not make enough money to pay all their bills and eat, and put money in savings and maybe do a little extra a month. The average American like goes into debt every single month. And this is a byproduct of living outside your means. And the reason we do this, like I said, is because it's never been easier to do. There was a time when you couldn't live outside your means. There was a time when the only way you could live outside your means was like to like steal, was like rob folks, right? Like there just wasn't any access. Like if you didn't have the money, you did not have the money. Like if you didn't have the cash, you just did not have the cash. If you didn't have the money, you couldn't buy extra. You couldn't buy, you know what I mean? You couldn't buy clothes. You couldn't buy food. You couldn't go on trips. You just did not have the money. And I personally think this was a much better system. But now we live in a world where, especially in Western civilizations, where even if you don't have the money, you can draw on like future money. If you have a job, if you have a good credit score, you can spend money you don't even have. You can live outside your means. So the average person who makes $40,000 a year is living like they make $60,000 a year. And the big question is why? Like, why do we feel the need when we know how much money we have and we know what we really can afford? Why do we feel the need to spend more? Like, it just doesn't seem to make sense. Why would I want to spend more money than I have and then have to worry about paying that money back? Why would I do that? And I think one comes down to, we live in a very entitled society. It's entitlement. We feel like we deserve to have certain things, and even if we don't make enough money to have them, we think we deserve them, so we will borrow the money to have them. I deserve a brand new car because I work hard. Even though the job I work hard at doesn't pay me enough to afford a brand new car, I deserve it for whatever reason. I deserve to have a new outfit every week for whatever reason. We all have different reasons as to why we're entitled. You know, entitled people all have different reasons as to why they're entitled. But I think entitlement is a big one. People just think they deserve these things for some crazy reason. Now, there's millions of people all over the world who don't have these things that people feel they're entitled to. So why we think, you know, we need a $500,000 house when, you know, there's people all over the world living in shacks and shanties who are just as good of human beings, if not better in some cases than us. Who knows? Entitlement is a weird thing. Like, you can't explain it. Like, people just think they deserve things. And so they will put themselves into debt and live outside of their means and cause themselves all kinds of stress and worry because they think that's what they deserve. And on some, and when you really think about it, the stress and the worry is what they deserve for living outside of their means. So maybe they're right. So that's one reason. I think two is another reason people live outside of their means is because they're very concerned about what people think. They're very concerned about their image. People are very worried about what other people in the neighborhood or at work or their friends or their family think about them. So if they're only making $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, but everyone expected them to make more, or everyone else around them is making more, then they feel like they have to live outside their means and get the things, the trappings, the possessions, take the trips, eat at the restaurants that someone who's making $100,000 or $150,000 a year is making, or more. It's all about level. So I'm talking, you know, in the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands. But the same thing happens with people who are making $300,000 a year and they want to live like someone making $600,000 a year. Same thing happens with people making $1 million a year and they want to live like they're making $5 million or $10 million a year. Whenever you level up monetarily in life, you just go into, like, whenever you go into another tax bracket, it's the same game, just with higher money. So like this living outside your means isn't just something that us poor people do. Rich people do it too. And one of the big reasons is because they want to make it look to friends, families, coworkers, etc., like they're doing better than they are. Because we still equate, and all of us do it. Even those of us who are woke, we still on some level do it. We still equate like the amount of money someone's bringing in with like success and how well they're doing in life. When this is not true. This is not true, especially when you think about it. Like, most of the people we really revere in history, like the people we really revere, were poor. I mean, think about it. You know, Jesus, Muhammad, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, you know, Martin Luther King, you know, whoever, someone who you really look up to, most of them were poor. The people we remember from history, like, most of them were poor. Okay, here lately we've started to revere like businessmen and businesswomen, things like that. But a lot of the people that will stand the test of time, you know, Steve Jobs is a cool like person to look up to now. I promise you, 2,000 years from now, no one will care about Steve Jobs. They will remember Jesus though. Okay, right? So most of the people we really look up to in history were poor, but yet we still have this idea that we have to like make money. And if we can't find a way to make as much money as we think we need to have to live a lifestyle we think we should be living, then we just borrow it. Because we have to make people think we have this money, which is crazy. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing, they're doing the same thing too. Okay? A lot of these people that you're looking at and you're measuring yourself against, a lot of people who are the litmus test for your success are faking it too. Like, everybody's out here faking it. Okay, the people, this is what I'm starting to see in life. Like, the people who really got it, or the people who are like doing well financially, they don't show it. A lot of times they don't show it. The people who you are out here trying to outdo or be like are getting as much debt and having as much stress and as much worry as you are. You know, so you got all these fakers like trying to outfake each other, and it's crazy. Meanwhile, the people who are doing okay ain't trying to show off. And then you have the other people who, which I think is the best group, is the people who are just content with the amount of money they have in life. They're content with the amount of money they bring in. Okay? There are people who figured it out that, you know, I make X amount a month. That means I can only spend this much, and then put this much in savings, below this much. That's all I can do. And I just got to figure out how to be happy with that. And I really think that is the best way to live. And it's not always easy. You know, let me take this opportunity to say it's not always easy. As someone who tries to always live within their means, I just always been this way. I don't like owing people money. I've always been like a real person. If I can't afford it, I don't want it. If I have something, that means I can afford it. Okay, and if anyone judges me off of that, well then I get the props of knowing that it's cash, it's paid for. Daddy can afford it, okay? So it's not always easy. It's not always easy. Sometimes you have to forego some of the things everybody else around you has, okay? Y'all see, like right now, I ain't got no car. Could I afford a car? Yes. You know what? you know one of the things that brings me like the most joy? I'm weird, bear with me. You know one of the things that brings me like the most joy? Is when I'm walking around and people look at me crazy because I'm walking, and like I can see the judgment on their face because I'm walking, and they're driving and they think they're so much better than me, but they're like in a car that like I could totally afford, or like I know I could afford a better one. When you judge me for walking and you're in like a car that ain't even all that, like when I know I could afford like 2 of your car, it's so funny to me. It is hilarious to me. Anyway, and that's not me tooting my own horn. I'm just saying like, but you do have to deal with judgments, and people looking down on you and people thinking you're poor. But the good thing about living within your means is, especially when like everything's paid for and you're putting money in savings, is that you know you're straight. You know that you're not in mountains of debt. You don't have those worries. When you get your paycheck, you get to keep it. And you know what goals you're working towards. People who live within their means are typically working towards some type of life goal, some type of financial goal, and you know when you achieve it, how great it's gonna be. So you don't really worry about like what other people think about you. You don't really worry if people think you're broke, if you're poor. Like you know me, I'm always saying I'm broke, and I think that's the mindset we should have. So many people are like want to have this mindset of, oh, I'm rich, oh, I'm paid, when they're not. So what they'll do is like, what they'll do is borrow money to pretend to be rich, which is crazy. I think it'd be much better if we all had the mindset that we're broke and we live that way. You may not be able to eat at the fanciest restaurants. There's like 20 people waiting up here at this stoplight. I'm trying to figure out which way I'm gonna walk. You may not be able to eat at the fanciest restaurants, right? You know, you may not drive the nicest car. You may have to, why are there so many people around? Hold on, I'm gonna go back this way. Way too many people going on. There's like 8 people just came out of nowhere. Every time I'm making a video, people just appear out of nowhere. Anyway, like I was saying, you may not be able to eat at the fanciest restaurants, have the nicest clothes. You may have to shop at the Goodwill. You may not approve of like Walmart's business practices, but that may be the only place you can buy your food. Might be where you have to buy your clothes. Walmart fleece works just as good as an Old Navy fleece. You know, like you may not get the admiration from your peers, and people may think that, you know, you're slipping in life or whatever. But guess what? It does not matter. You know, when you can get to all of this living within your means, not worrying about what people think, is helping you to like grow. It's helping you to grow, and even in the beginning, it might be very uncomfortable. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you don't care. Eventually, you'll get to the point where it's funny when people judge you, because you know like what you're doing. You know you have a plan. You know what your finances are, and at the end of the day, it keeps you a lot freer. Which is the point of this whole video. It keeps you a lot freer when over the course of like years, you live within your means, you don't get into debt, you save money, you become one of the few, like, dude, like if you have $1,000 in the bank, you are better than like 67, I think it was, % of Americans. That's one of my favorite statistics. Like, if you have $2,000 in the bank, you are doing better than probably like 80% of Americans. That to me is a much better feeling than like, I'm gonna shoot you. Oh, you scared the crap out of me. Oh, you scared the crowd. Like, oh man. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if y'all saw that, but one of my coworkers just scared the crap, like just scared the crap out of me back there. Shout out to Fraser. I'm gonna get you back for that. Yeah, that was crazy. Where was I? Okay. Yeah. Having $1,000, $2,000 in the bank and being better off financially, and like the average American, is a better feeling to me than riding around a new Mercedes that I still owe like $30,000 on. I'm just saying, you know, like, and that's the thing too. Like, if you're having trouble living within your means, because you think what people are gonna say about you, just realize that like, most of these people that you see in all this luxury stuff owe tons and tons of money on it. Okay. Just know that they owe tons and tons of money on this stuff, and they will be like paying this stuff off long after it ain't cool no more, right? Long after they stop getting any enjoyment out of whatever it is, whatever luxury item that they're paying on that they can't afford, they'll still be paying on it. Meanwhile, you've been good this whole time. You've been good. You've been good. That extra $200-300 a month that you're not, you know, having to put towards credit card bills or car payment or mortgage on a house that you really can't afford, you've been spending that on cool stuff. Hopefully. Hopefully. Or you've been saving it to do something, you know, super cool later. So that's one of the things I dwell on. Because like I said, I know people look down on me all the time. It's not always easy, especially in like dating scenarios. You know how hard it is to like take an Uber to a date or to ask a date to give you a ride home after y'all been on a date. But like, hey, I'm living within my means. I got things I want to do with that money, you know? Could get a car, don't want one right now. Could have a nice car, don't want a car note. So, you know, just living within your means, whatever you make. Say you make $30,000 a year, live on 23, save 7. There's ways to do it. People all over the world. This is one of the things that I really appreciate about other parts of the world. The few countries I've been able to travel to, it just seems like they don't have this whole idea that they have to like live on a certain level. Whatever money they got, that's what they live on. They seem a lot more grateful to be making any money, you know? It just seems like, and maybe it's because they don't have access to like the credit and the extra money that we have access to. Maybe if everyone around the world had access to it, they all would live outside their means too. But it just seems like when I go to other countries, people are a lot more grateful for what they have. They're a lot more frugal. They actually save money. They don't buy as many luxury items. It just seems like they live within their means more. And this is something I think that we in Western society could learn from. Instead of just feeling like we have to have, or we're entitled to, or that we need to show off, we need to stunt, we need to ball out, you know? We just need to live. We just need to survive. We just need to be comfortable if possible. And then beyond that, just put money aside for a rainy day. Like, you gotta start living within your means, people. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. All this faking it, just making you broke. Talk to you later.